It's like one of the little like cases in the back where it's like,
Alright, everybody. Yep. Y'all are good. For room checks are at 10:30.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Natural M. That's me. You may notice that I don't have any earrings in or any necklaces, and you know, my retainer's out too. And my skin's looking a little rough. That's okay. And that's because I just washed my hair. And right now, while I'm waiting for it to, you know, dry so I can start doing my protective style on it, I'm kind of recording this video to introduce like what this video is gonna be about. And y'all know that I love my protective styling, so I kind of just, you know, for my fellas out there, I kind of did a protective style on, you know, a male model, and that male model is my friend Julian, and he's actually from this program that I'm a part of called OUDC, and it's a group of 23 Black and Jewish students, and we kind of like went through the Deep South to kind of like meet civil rights leaders and, you know, activists, and also people who helped fight against antisemitism. And at my OUDC fam, y'all see that I'm wearing the shirt that we got from Sunflower County, you know, reppin', yeah. So, and Julian is one of my amazing friends who kindly offered to be in my video. Thank you, Julian. So I kind of used him as my model, and I did this protective style where I did like 2 braids going down the sides, and I hope you guys like it. Now what I'm going to start off doing is parting Julian's hair. So as you can see, I started parting it down the middle, and I put up one side so that it doesn't really get in the way of the other side. So I started spraying it with some water just to add some moisture. Not saying that his hair was totally dry, but it's better to do it when it's a little damp, so I added a bit of water. And I started rubbing it in, and I wanted his ends to be a bit saturated. So I added a bit of Cantu leave-in conditioner into his hair. I added a little more to get all of the parts of his hair. And I'm spraying a bit of Argan Oil in his hair right now so that it can keep in the moisture. So the oil will kind of trap the moisture in, and as you see now, I'm kind of combing it out as delicately as possible so I don't rip any of his hair out. I'm trying to make sure that 1, it doesn't really hurt his scalp, and 2, it doesn't like pull out any of the hairs that don't really need to be pulled out yet. And it's okay for there to be a little bit of shed hair, but as you can see, I'm not trying to pull out any hair that's perfectly healthy and fine. And you see there that I'm trying to make sure that the ends are totally moisturized, because the ends are the driest part of your hair and probably the most likely to break off. So I'm making sure that it's really like important that you moisturize the ends of the hair. And there's Sydney. She's amazing, guys. Shout out to you, Sydney. So right now I'm delicately combing out Julian's hair, making sure that I don't rip out any of the healthy hairs. Just making sure that I'm combing through it nicely. And as you can see, as I'm combing through it, I'm making sure that I'm not ripping through his hair so that all the healthy hair can stay intact. So now I'm going to be using Dominican Coconut Oil in his hair. So I'm just going to be using a nice amount and just spreading it around. And as you can see, I'm making sure I'm getting some on his ends, because the ends are the most brittle part of your hair and prone to the most breakage. So now I'm using a bit of black castor oil, which is really great for hair growth. And I'm going to be using a really small amount. I don't like using a huge amount on hair, but I really try and focus on the scalp when I do this. So I rub it on the scalp because I know that's how hair grows. I don't really use it on the ends because it's not really used for that. So now I'm just spreading all the oil around, and I'm parting his hair so that when I braid it, it looks good. So now I'm going to take a piece of it and split it into 3 pieces and start braiding. Oh, there's Jacob in the back. Oh, okay. But on a more serious note, as you can see, I'm starting to braid down and it's really looking good for now. But at the end of this braid, you're gonna notice that the sides are sticking out, and that's because with Julian's, oh, there's Timmy. Oh, Tim's another one of my models. He's actually gonna be in the part 2 video of this OUDC edition of protective styling. But anyway, as I was saying, the sides of Julian's hair are a lot shorter than the tops of it just because of the hairstyle that he has, which is totally fine. But when I'm braiding, I start to notice that the sides are sticking out and I have to like redo it at some point. So you're gonna see at the end me unraveling the braid and restarting it. But that's just because I need the sides to be inside the braid to protect that part of his hair as well. So this is when I notice, okay, so I have to unravel his hair and kind of restart the braid. So the way that I'm doing it now is I'm actually having the braid go a little more sideways just so that there's Zola. She's so beautiful, guys. Love her. Shout out to you, Zola. But anyway, I'm kind of braiding the side so that I can get the side part of his hair into the braid, which is actually working, as you can see. So the way that I'm braiding it now is that I'm telling you guys, if you guys have shorter parts of your hair, it's totally fine. Just braid in that direction so that you can get that part of the hair into the braid and protect that part of your hair as well. So as you can see, I'm finished with the braid and I'm going to secure it with a hair tie. So I'm kind of twisting it and I'm going to wrap it with a hair tie. And that side's done. So I'm going to go on to the next side, and firstly I have to spray with water as usual. So I'm making sure that I get the sides and the back of his hair as well. And I'm just spraying his ends and all over his hair. So I'm kind of rubbing it in now. And I'm going to add a little more of that Cantu leave-in conditioner. And I'm just going to spread it around and especially focus on his ends. And I know I've said focus on the ends at least like 20 times, but to my understanding, that's the most important part of the hair to focus on just because it's the oldest and it's prone to the most breakage, and we don't want that. So, oh, and there is the Argan Oil again. I'm going to spray that in to kind of lock in the moisture of the leave-in conditioner and the water that I've sprayed in earlier. And I'm kind of just spreading it around. And I'm going to add that Dominican Coconut Oil again as well. And now I'm just combing through again. And as you can see, I'm doing it as delicately as possible just so I don't rip out any of his healthy hair. And actually, his hair is, you know, generally healthy. So, oh, there's a knot. And as you can see, I'm pulling it out as delicately as possible. As I was saying, his hair is generally healthy, so there's not much shedding. But I don't want to pull out any of the healthy hair that's, you know, thriving on his head. So I'm just making sure I go through delicately and not rip out any of his hair follicles. And as you can see, Julian has relatively long hair, so it's not, you know, a huge problem of his of growing hair, but I'm still adding that castor oil so that it can really thrive and really grow. And you know that castor oil is really great for hair growth, so I'm only putting it on the scalp. And I'm going to start braiding on this side as well. So right now, although it looks like I'm pulling like super tightly on his hair, I'm really going like super delicately. I'm not really pulling out any of his hair. And also on this side, same as the other side, I kind of noticed that the side hair wasn't in again. So I had to unravel it in between. But it was, yeah, as you can see, I'm kind of like looking at it and I'm noticing that the side hair still isn't in on this side. So I had to unravel it and do this side again as well. So as I said earlier with Julian's hairstyle, the sides are pretty short in comparison to the rest of his hair, but it was a lot easier braiding his hair closer to the sides just so that the hair on his sides could get into the braid. So now I'm doing the very end part and I'm gonna twist it and put it in the hair tie again. So I'm making sure that all of his hair is secure, and that was the end of it. So now this is actually a different time of the night, and this is actually what I'm doing before he goes to bed to make sure that his braids stay pretty neat for the morning. So he gave me a bit of his gel, and I'm actually going to be using it in the front of his hair on top of the leave-in conditioner that I just put on the front. Oh, there's Nick. Shout out to you. So I was kind of using the gel on the front of his hair so that it can stay relatively neat for the morning time. So I'm kind of slicking it back a bit. And now I'm going to spray a little bit of coconut oil on both sides just because it smells really nice and it keeps hair relatively moisturized. And I have this headband that I'm going to be putting on Julian's hair just so it keeps his front intact. I didn't want to mess up his face mask, so kind of went over that. But I'm kind of pushing the front hair back so that it can kind of hold it down for the nighttime. And I gave him my bonnet for the night as well, just to cover up the back of his hair and make sure that the pillow doesn't soak up all the oils that I put in it. Because as you know, cotton soaks up that oil. And this is the morning time. And his hair stayed relatively neat. Yeah, and this is after I took it out. His hair was very curly, it looked really nice. Okay, so before I go, number one. Shout out to my sister for making these amazing noodles while I was recording. And number two is that you don't have to use like Dominican coconut oil. That's just all I had because I left my coconut oil in the Dominican Republic, so I had to get some from the airport. So on that note, I think my hair is pretty dry by now. Yeah. But on that note, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys like this video, so just like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And yeah, bye!